Welcome everybody to the Quantum World TV, and today we have really a special event, a special program where we will introduce the Subtle Energy 101 with Dr. Yury Kronn. And before we start with Dr. Kronn, let me tell you that this is very meaningful, and I think I come all the time with this line that we are making history. In some way, this class this morning, this intro to this incredible course, Subtle Energy 101, is historic because you cannot find any very substantial course or class about subtle energy and its relation with healing and relation with quantum physics in any curriculum of any university. And this is part of our mission at Quantum University to redesign a new understanding of the human being based on the premise of quantum physics. And there is a path there. There's an evolution, where first we have laid out some premise with Dr. Amit Goswami, and then and now with this morning with Dr. Yury Kronn, we pushing the frontier or the boundaries of this understanding in application, because we can speak along years about quantum physics, but how really it's relating with the field of medicine, natural medicine, integrative medicine, how really it could be applied to modality very specifically, and not only that, coming with a very scientific explanation. So for me, this morning, it's a dear moment where we are making a breakthrough. And of course, this last Subtle Energy 101 will be part of a very important part of our curriculum. This last has been also, can provide you CEOs, 0.8 CEOs. There will be, we have been approved for this quality of teaching. And on a personal base, because the class was not designed previously for the people who are already signed up in the program, you will be able to get an equivalence. And on a personal base, you have to communicate with your mentor, and we will be able to see how we can apply this course equivalent to other courses that you may have in your program. So before we start, I'd like to introduce with great honor, Dr. Yury Kronn, that I know personally now for probably 15 years, and it's also a friendship. But more than that, as I came in America and building the university, he was pursuing his research. So research that has started already since 30 years. So he's not new in the field. But Dr. Kronn now is really in this field of quantum physicists. Relating with healing and application. He's probably one of the main leader worldwide. And you will see that his credentials are, need to be remarkable. World-renowned scientist, inventor, author, founder, and lead scientist of Vital Force Technology, Research and Science Division of Energy Tool International. He's also a major contributor to the field of nonlinear quantum radiophysics. He was educated in Russia, prestigious University of Gorky. Dr. Kronn was one of the leading theoreticians in high-frequency electrical vibration. So you will probably be able to access this very deep curriculum, but let me tell you that it's 30 years of research. He's also a published author, 75 scientific articles. He's also now preparing his new book, and I'm sure this will be a bestseller. And and I can add another hour just to speaking about his prestigious curriculum. So before we start again, I like, you see this morning, I want to really, insist on the fact that how meaningful is this class, and how this will be a cornerstone in the curriculum, a curriculum that now redefine, as I said, the way we understand the human being. And this is as important now, because you have to realize that how doctors are trained on this outdated model of science has to be readjust to broaden the perspective of to a world that is not only visible or physic, but also subtle. So, and one of the first questions I would like to ask, and you will have also your opportunity on the chat room at the end of this program to ask your own question. And of course, we cannot cover the whole substance of this program that is more than 10 hours with in-depth information about the structure of matter, dark energy, subtle energy, and how they relate together. But let me ask you, Dr. Kronn, why scientists have so much a difficult time explaining the property of subtle energy?
There are a lot of scientists all over the world and a lot of data collected in this area. Why regular science doesn't consider it as a serious topic? Just because they cannot measure subtle energy. Subtle energy is not measurable, and until recently our science saw that everything can be measured. If we cannot measure something, it just doesn't exist. And that's one of the main reasons why mainstream science doesn't want to consider seriously this area.
This energy we're speaking about is measurable. So it's like, how can you figure out something that you cannot access? And in his language, Dr. Goswami will say, will speak in terms of non-locality. But I guess is there other indirect way to measure subtle energy, or at least, I know in your course you're speaking about these 5 guys try to figure out, the shape of. It's like we are blind and we try indirectly to grasp something that we cannot understand from a linear model of understanding, or from Newton physics, or the model of chemistry that is usually taught in university. But how were you able to indirectly approach this subtle energy?
But there are a lot of effects of subtle energy on physical matter, on living organisms, which you can observe. And that's what our frontier science is doing. And by the way, there are a lot of observations made with the help of modern scientific equipment. And for instance, in China, in main institute of so-called high energy physics, they observed effect of energy emitted by Chinese Qi master and Qigong master, and he is at the same time a very famous medical doctor, and he changed so many parameters of physical and chemical processes, and even affected radioactive decay rate, which is, according to our science, cannot be changed by anything. So evidences are here, and the matter only that it is not regular scientific methods we need to apply to research subtle energy, and that's what I was working on all that last 30 years.
So meaning that a Qi master can have an effect on the decay of radioactive
element, right?
That's incredible. So how then that can happen? How come from someone who using we're speaking about the Qi, right? Here the Qi, and this is also what we relate to life force and the prana, right? This is what we're speaking about. So this concept that cannot be grasped again by Western modern science, you meaning that we have the proof that someone through this Qigong exercise or practice was able to change the decay of radioactivity. Isotope, I think, was the 241, right? The
Yeah,
Chicago master.
they repeated this experiment for 50 times, and it was lasting for years. And absolutely modern equipment was used for that. All this data were published. And actually, what it means, Dr. Drouin, we need to stress it, that it means that this energy affects fundamental forces of the universe, which supposedly, according to our science, cannot be changed by anything. So this is fundamental result, and it was published. It was published in not only in Chinese but in English also. And by the way, it was. Could you please show slide 6? You can see the whole book is written about it.
We can see on the slide here the scientific Qigong exploration, where you have this graph, illustrating the experiment Dr. Kronn is speaking about. We are opening a door here, because in my history as a medical doctor, of course, I went, medical school, and then later on to acupuncture school. And as I was telling you, I was very, in some way, disappointed when I went to study acupuncture to medical school, that they will completely ignore what Dr. Kronn is speaking about this morning. And
Yes,
let me pursue the question here. What are you calling the fifth force? Because I find this term very very new in some way. Is it what when you speak about the fifth force? This is what you're speaking about?
Yes. Could you please show slide 5? When you look through all these materials, you can see that this is force, this subtle energy or chi or whatever you call this force, life force. It's a very nice name, I think, that ancient gave to this force, is actually very important, if not the most important force of the universe. That's why it should be considered as a fifth force, because only four forces are known to modern science. And this is fifth force.
Okay, so, I'm kind of, when I was looking at your course, in some way, I was kind of surprised that there's so many experiments already done about what the subject we're speaking about. But why this information or this data didn't go through the medical system? Now, of course, we are doing this breakthrough today with your class. But how come that is that because there is a resistance, or because what they found doesn't really fit in an environment that is more I will say Western thinking? So why? How come?
Dr. Drouin, as a medical professional, you know that such a simple thing as introducing anesthesia to medicine took for our science 40 years to admit, to accept, and to practically use. So I don't know, it's more psychological problem, and probably historian of the future will be analyzing why our science is so stubborn. But this is just experimental fact that only frontier scientists publish and do this research and publish these results. And it is not possible to publish these results in regular scientific literature. So they had to organize their own journals and their own conferences to present very solid, very scientific results. And it becomes more and more important because, as you know, energy medicine becomes very widespread tool of integrative medicine.
There is when you start to scrutinize, and try to go, and then you are going beyond the molecular model, beyond the atom. And then what I found in the course, you're speaking about a subatomic particle. And then you go in a very fascinating world that you call quartz and subquartz. Without giving all the detail here, can you speak a little bit more about that? Because when you cross this, there's like it's kind of across an interface world, and then you get in this subatomic world. What you said is not measurable. And then before I go in the subatomic particle, I'd like to you explain also why electromagnetism doesn't have an effect at that level, and then chi energy can affect this subtle energy. And then later on, we will go in this subatomic particle. It's kind of I have two questions in one here.
This situation is pretty well understood now. Our science figured out now that about 96% of the universe, which are not physical universe, are actually, ruled by some energy. They call it dark energy. And it means that our electromagnetic energy, we know that it's made by electrical charges. Electrical charges belong to our physical world. And it means that our electromagnetic energy, which rules almost everything in our physical world in terms of chemistry and biology, of course, because of that, belongs only to this atomic world, which is 4% of the whole existence. So, but that so-called dark energy belongs to this subatomic world. And as I said, these experiments which Chinese scientists did indicates that subtle energy affects subatomic particles. Subatomic particles also is important for human being. That's what need to be put together. And that's what we need to put attention to, I would say. And as I said, so many different tools of subtle energy medicine are appearing now. We need to understand how it interacts with physical body, how it interacts with physical matter. And that's why we need to have at least some, hypothesis about how this energy interacts with physical matter. That's why these subatomic particles are coming to the picture. They are needed to explain how this subtle energy interacts with physical world, in spite that it cannot be measured.
Yeah, and then you said, that the physical world is kind of the reflection of energy vibration from the subtle world. It's like, what is in this 4% you're speaking about is the mirror of what is in the 96%. And now you're telling me, understanding the subatomic particle give us like an understanding of the physical world if we can really see how this subatomic particle. Tell me more a little bit about what you speak about when you speak about the quartz thing. Which are the subatomic particle you're speaking about.
I'm considering this question only from the point of practical applications. So why quarks are in the picture? Because when this experiment on changing radioactive decay rate was done, it is obvious that since subtle energy doesn't interact with electrical charge, what it interacts with, how it can change the radioactive decay rate. It means that it changes so-called weak force responsible for radioactive decay rate. And it is, if you wish, acts inside this nucleus. It is interaction between quarks. So quarks somehow are involved in this interaction. So that's how quarks are coming to the picture, and probably even some quarks, which our science only suppose that they exist. But it actually interests to me only for a reason to explain, or at least to have a possible explanation how this subtle energy interacts with physical matter, so that we could understand how it affects our, let's say, physiology, how it affects our biochemical reactions. And ability of subtle energy to affect chemical reactions were proven by many scientists, including these Chinese scientists, which I already mentioned, whom I already mentioned. So we are coming to practical applications. So we need to talk about quarks just because we need to understand how it works. Without understanding how subtle energy works, how it affects our physical body, we cannot do right science, we cannot create right equipment, we cannot, do have right explanation how it works, and that's why we need to understand about mechanism of interaction of subtle energy with physical matter. That's what I am trying to put together in my course.
Yeah, when we get in this subatomic, you said that'll help us to understand. Is this subatomic world reflect kind of how the energy structure, or is there like a model of organization that can be affected? I know some people are doing research on water now, and they speak about the organization of the water. I'm thinking, by example, Dr. Emoto research. How the mind was able to affect the water, and are we thinking that in the same term that knowing the subatomic particle, we may have a way to have an effect to the structure of these subatomic particle of these quarks?
Let's take this water which you just mentioned. So if we have the effect of change structure of this water under influence of subtle energy, what does it mean? It means that this subtle energy changes structure of nucleus. This nucleus being changed, of course, somehow differently interacts with each other, and atoms which combine in water, it's just atoms of oxygen and hydrogen, change their interaction. In scientific terms, this hydrogen force is changed, and then hydrogen link is changed, and then it changes molecule of water. That's why these molecules of water already, when you try to freeze it, starting freezing it, it changes the structure of
the structure of the water. That was some experiment done with Dr. Emoto. You have beautiful thought, and then you get all these structural organization of the water. But at the end of the day, now what we're speaking is the mind work to subtle energy. And if the mind work to subtle energy, meaning that has an effect on this subatomic particle, and now we're speaking about, the question was about, how this work, how, can we, by example, create more coherence? Because at the end of the day, this is where we will go, it's to use this knowledge for healing. So, but at this point, I'd like to know, what is really happening here? When we're speaking about the mind, this Qigong master having an effect on radioactivity, meaning that he has an effect on subatomic particle. Do they get reorganized in some ways that they have a mirror, as we said, it's like a phantom, right? A mirror effect on the physical. So I'm sorry, but let's maybe repeat a part of your answer.
So part about water is really important, not just because Emoto observed this effect, but it allows to demonstrate a lot of interesting properties of subtle energy, and also confirm absolutely incredible fact of interaction of human mind with subtle energy. And what I explained already, that if water molecule is changed, and that's only how you can explain why these flakes which Emoto observed were different with different thoughts, it means that first, as I said, mind interacts with subtle energy and programs it if you wish. And it was confirmed by these experiments with Dr. Yang Xin, changing the radioactive decay rate, that human mind is capable to program subtle energy to do, the job, I would say. So in this case, in the case of water, it is experimental fact, another experimental fact that human mind interacts with subtle energy. But how to confirm it? First of all, you don't know if this energy really participates in this process because there is no way to measure it. So that's what was important to experimentally prove it. As you know, and I explain it in my course, I invented generator of subtle energy, equipment which is capable to generate, record, reproduce, and copy energy and infuse it in any substance. So what we did, we took different energetic patterns which were developed, and enormous amount of energetic patterns were developed in the course of this experimentation. We infused different energetic patterns into water, and we observed, like Dr. Emoto observed, different shapes of flakes, snowflakes, made from this water, depending on what energy pattern was infused there, which supports this hypothesis that these changes in water stimulated by subtle energy. So a lot of these experimental facts can be put together, and then we start understanding how subtle energy works. And by the way, about water, people believe that this structured, so-called structured water has healing abilities. But if you take into account that really different energetic patterns assigned to this differently structured water, you can explain that it's actually effect of not water, just water by itself, but effect of energy pattern connected to this particular structure. And this explains healing properties of water. It's a lot of interesting data can be derived from this kind of experiments.
Yeah, this is absolutely fascinating, when you think about it. So in other words, we first of all, at the first part of this program, you explained that yes, the mind can have an effect on matter, indirectly, with this mind that belong in fact to this dark matter, dark energy, and and now you speaking about the fact now, and that was probably the inquiry of many other scientists. Can we have a way, a technology that can imprint, in other words, give a signature in the subtle field that will reflect on the matter, and this is what you have achieved. So,
right.
For my, of course, I went to the course, and I don't want to give all the clue of the. It's like when you go to a movie, right? You don't want to say the whole story so people can go and watch the movie, but you came with very specific data. It's not just an idea here, but when this is done, when you have, I will say, a repertory, many signature, and then later on, you went through some type of experiment on plant, or EEG, or brain mapping, or heart variability. So you were able to measure physiological data that will reflect that, hey, there's something happening here. We have discovered a way to, imprint a signature in the field, and now these things can also alter beneficially the physiology of the individual. Would you comment about that?
Yes, of course. That's what our goal is finally. And this course is the first step into achieving this goal. We need to develop clear understanding how subtle energy works and use it for helping human well-being and also for scientific research and also to make people able to and the professionals able to discern which equipment which is made on this subtle energy principle are real, which is not.
I want to, here really, point that this is how important it is, because this is what I'm speaking about now for so many years, that as soon we will expand the foundation of our understanding of human being, as soon we will start to influx, some principle idea from quantum physics to the world of healing, we will open the door to 100 other modalities that now are not available, because in some way the door of medicine, what we call modern medicine, is locked, by a model of medicine that just allow pharmaceutical and surgery. I hope you understand how important this is this morning, what we're speaking about. The subject is crucial because, some people may say, oh, what you're speaking about is just theoretical. No, it's not theoretical. Years ago when I was challenged in Canada as a family doctor by my peers, they would say, oh, what you're doing is not scientific. What you're doing is not teaching in university. Of course, what is teaching in university is absolutely, it's impossible to grasp what we're speaking about this morning, what is taught in university. So we have to back up and redefine the curriculum. And this is how important it is. And this is what the research of Dr. Kronn come really in the right time, because we need also application. Because, it's like, speaking about some theory, but there is no outcome. And this is what, again, you're speaking about. And we lost your last sentence where you were saying...
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, very well. So where you have the technology, again, I repeat that, to imprint subtle energy, to give signature, and then later on, you have assess, and this is the content of this incredible course where you lay out all the studies, coming from heart variability to other parameters that has demonstrated that it's beneficial for the human being. Because at the end of the day, what we're looking about is to come with with a more powerful way to heal the individual without less effect. This is what is exactly the quest of your research, Dr. Kronn, is to come with technology, more subtle, that will restore health, but with all the side effect and the consequence that we know today with the therapy that are used. I'm right about that?
Yes, of course. You know that this energy is used by ancients from very, very long time ago, and acupuncture is a great example of it. The main purpose of technology is to make possible to bring research of subtle energy on really scientific level. Because until you can repeat conditions of an experiment many times, which is not possible even with best chi master, you need to have technology which is capable to repeat the same energy pattern, let's say, as many times as you need for experiments. And that's what I did. And that's what we used for these experiments in printing water, researching how it changes structure of the water. And Dr. Drouin, I need to stress this kind of thing. We all believe, for instance, that subtle energy influences our genes expression, which means that it affects us on a very deep level, on genetic level, but we didn't have proof of that. So this technology, allowed to do experiments which confirm this belief. And Bruce Lipton will be very happy to hear it. I'm planning to send him our last results. We
observe changes of gene expression under specific energy patterns and repeatedly, which means that a lot of phenomena, including this kind of phenomena which Bruce Lipton likes to discuss, this epigenetics, effect of environment on our functioning, on human being life, and how it happens. We need also to understand mechanisms of this effect. And that's what we did. We used this technology and specific energy patterns received with the help of this technology to confirm and see how this subtle energy influences gene expression. And we did this many times already. So a lot of things can be done when you have, I would say, scientific approach, modern science approach to this ancient knowledge. And if you combine this ancient knowledge with this scientific approach and technology, which is actually bridge between ancient knowledge of subtle energy and modern scientific approach to the world, you can make a lot of good things for this energy medicine.
You know what, you just bring the subject now of epigenetic and the changing the expression of the DNA. It's absolutely now one of the most probably hot topic in the modern medicine. And the way modern medicine look at the DNA now is like, it's very fatalistic. In other words, I'm pretty sure that, and it's probably out there now. You go to a clinic and they give you your makeup genetic, and here, you have this probability to have this kind of disease or this disease. And because the modern medicine conventional is defined, it's like there is no outcome. What's coming here is pretty dramatic. But now you just open another door, which is absolutely fascinating. And it goes also in the path of Dr. Bruce Lipton, who wrote The Biology of Belief, saying that, again, your belief system, the way you think, this emotional environment can absolutely affect, the expression of your gene. In other words, if you inherit of this factor from your family, doesn't mean you are condemned to this, to this outcome. And now you're telling me now, this is very important, and I will underline that it's, it's not before we're speaking about thinking. Emotional environment. Now you're speaking about the fact that we have a technology that can also have a role at that level. In other words, that can have an influence on the expression of the DNA. Can you tell give us a little bit more detail about, how this, you came to that conclusion? What were the type of experiment you done there?
But these were experiments done in a beech tree lab on Rhode Island, which does these experiments. It is standard scientific experiments in vitro, which means that you take, let's say, human skin cells in vitro, and with specific methods developed by our biologists for last decades, you see how it changes activity, any kind of remedy or energy added to growth media, how it changed gene expression of these particular cells. That's what we did for several different type of cells, like, as I already said, for skin cells, for kidney embryonic cells. And by the way, we are working with Latvian University. Scientists of Latvian University appear to be very open-minded scientists, and they are interested in this kind of research. They are doing research in there. And in these two labs, we observed very interesting results on cellular level and on genetic level. So we observed changes under energy only, means that you have control, which is just regular growth media, and you have the same growth media but infused with specific energy pattern, and you can see that genes expression in these two samples are very different. What else we observe, Dr. Drouin, which is absolutely practical observation, how subtle energy can increase or improve and make better effect of existing remedies. We took one of the remedy which influences genes responsible for immune system, and what we did, we added specific energy which we chose, infused into this remedy, and it appeared that this remedy, being infused with this energy, much stronger affects gene expression. You can, by the way, if you can, show our listeners slide number 32. You can see this effect. First of all, you can see, can you do it?
Yeah, we have the slide now.
32. Look at these green arrows. They show genes which were almost twice stronger affected when this remedy called M2 infused with subtle energy. Now, what else? If you look at red arrows, it shows two genes which were not affected by remedy itself, but when remedy was infused with this subtle energy, it affected positively and strongly affected these genes. And more than that, one of genes, which is blue arrow on the right side, if you can see, was negatively, down-regulated by this remedy, which is not good. And in this case, sometimes you need down-regulate genes, but not in this case. And in this case, this remedy down-regulated this gene, particular gene, and it was, brought back to normal by this energy. So it means that you can correct, you can enhance, and you can improve any kind of remedy effect on the physiology of human beings, which is, I believe, will be very important application of subtle energy in the future.
Yeah, to understand very well this experiment, the cell, you may have said that before, but they were coming from which source? The cell you were experimenting?
Yes, it is a cell. This is experiments on human skin cells.
Human skin cell.
Right.
And meaning that if you enhance some of these genes, the outcome is the skin was regenerating faster?
No, we don't know. This is pure science.
Okay.
What the only we can say, there are genes, in all of our cells, there are genes responsible for certain activities of our body. Absolutely. In this case, genes which were affected were responsible for stimulating immune system. Mm-hmm. It means that this particular energy pattern enhanced stimulation of immune system mm-hmm. Produced by this remedy. That's what is important. We can enhance, as I said, effectiveness of remedies with subtle energy if it is, chosen in right way. This subtle energy pattern is chosen in right way. And we learned a lot of different methods how to create these energy patterns. If you wish, I can show you. Could you please show slide number 20? That's what this slide is showing. It shows how many different ways can be used for creating subtle energy patterns. And, it opens the whole area of new experimental, I would say, science, of subtle energy, which allows to scientifically prove and choose how to create subtle energy patterns for very specific applications. And what we did, for instance, you see in the first line, it says phantom atoms. What it was? It was energy corresponding. I explained it in my course in detail how it was made. We don't have time right now for that. But it was energy, there were energy patterns specifically created like to mimic activity of different atoms. For instance, atom of lithium. We know that lithium works on depression.
Yeah, the lithium, right?
Right, lithium.
Okay.
Lithium is works for depression, but lithium chemically is poison. And people can get in coma, as you know, if they use too much lithium. And too much, it's very relative because it depends on a particular individual. So we created energy of lithium. And energy of lithium helps with depression. It works exactly like lithium itself, but it doesn't have any side effects. You can imagine how many possibilities can be opened with only just this kind of type of subtle energy patterns. And we showed that there are a lot of ways to create these energy patterns. For instance, we learned how to create energy patterns following the very well-known ancient principles, like, for instance, principle of 5 elements, very well known in acupuncture. Using these principles, it's also possible to create energy patterns, which are following traditional Chinese medicine principles. And we created these energy patterns. And they worked exactly like Chinese medicine, ancient Chinese medicine says. So it is, again, it's building bridge between modern science and technology with ancient science, with ancient knowledge about this energy. No matter, how they didn't have, equipment which is available to modern science, but using what I'm calling human instruments, using seers, if you wish, and sensitive people, they developed incredible science of this subtle energy, and the great witness of this is acupuncture. So combining these principles and modern science equipment, as I said, we can develop the whole different series of enormous amount of different energy patterns directed for specific purposes, and we can apply them by themselves or in combination with existing remedies or supplements or whatever to enhance their effect, to direct in a specific way, and so on and so on. It opens the whole new area of integrative medicine, I would say.
This is absolutely fascinating. Opening the door now to so many avenues.
Right.
But one question, you're speaking about, we can imprint, with the healer intent, herbs and essential oils. So there's many substance that you can in some way capture the signature. What about homeopathy? Could you do the same thing with homeopathy? But homeopathy was what you're speaking about this morning was probably in the same thinking that Hahnemann was 200-300 years ago when he created homeopathy. See how to imprint water, alcohol, with some signature with herbs and so on, with the dynamization. I don't want to go all this, but can you in some way take homeopathy and convert it with your technology?
Yes, yes, we can do it. And we also can, let's say, like homeopathy, use some substances, and you know technique of homeopathy, how they prepare these remedies. We can, using energies, copies of energies of these substances, also create like a homeopathic remedies. But the differences of homeopathy is great science, you know that, and it's very effective. What is, problem with homeopathy? Very often homeopathy is unstable. It means that it's subjected very easily to influence of external factors like magnetic field. If you go in airports through the X-ray, through these machines, you can damage these homeopathics. Our imprinting is much more powerful than homeopathic, and it allows it to be more stable and not to be so much subjected to the external influences. So a lot of ways, but homeopathy is also limited only to those energy patterns which they can derive from existing herbs and substances and so on. But technology actually is not limited by that. We can create energy patterns, as I said, for instance, energies of periodic table elements, or we can create energy patterns using absolutely new principles. And we found some energy patterns are very useful, for instance, for stabilization of sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous systems in the human being. So a lot, and it was confirmed on animals also, on mice, experiments on mice in Latvian university. So it opens the whole new possibility. And what my course purpose is, the main purpose, to give people systematic and understandable vision how subtle energy works, so that they would, in their practice, could apply this knowledge.
Yeah, I like the fact that when you speak about homeopathy, that you can create a kind of an enhanced product where it's more stable. Being a homeopath for many years, I know how sometimes is, the products, because they are carried on from other countries, go to X-rays, and then you have the mint and so on and so on. So making this product more stable is really an advancement, and I don't want to go in this subject too deep this morning, but I'm pursuing some research also with Dr. Kronn on this field of homeopathy and subtle energy. But what I like here before, because I see the time is just going, but what I like, and you already spoke about this, is the idea of non-toxicity. Because one of the problem with modern medicine, pharmaceutic, as you know, it's loaded with side effects. It's like, you have this disease, we cannot cure it, but here we have an option that is, it's like the less of the worse, but there's a price to attach to it, which is the side effect. So can you just, and that would be my last question before we go to the chat room. What about toxicity? Because that was one of your concerns, right?
Yes, subtle energy is, in this sense, is much superior to chemistry because it doesn't have side effects. For many years of experimenting with health professionals in many countries, we never observed kind of side effects of this kind as they are observed when people use pharmaceuticals. Of course, you can have over-energizing by subtle energy, but it takes 2 hours and it goes away. But never ever serious, I would say, long-lasting kind of side effects were observed under influence of subtle energy patterns. And it makes it, of course, very safe, and especially it is their subtle energy medicine is useful, as you know, for prevention of disease, because subtle energy works like software in the human body. And using this software, you can tune up, I would say, how your hardware works, which means that you can prevent a lot of things. And as a prevention, subtle energy is incredibly powerful. And also, you can tune up your body for specific applications, and you can help even spiritual development if you wish, because there are energies which can help with meditation. So a lot of things can be done. And non-toxicity, of course, one of the most important features of subtle energy. And at the end, Dr. Drouin, what I wanted to say, it is a very important part. I want to spend a couple of minutes on that. That is very important to understand features of subtle energy, to be able to discern what equipment based on subtle energy is real, what is not, how it works. There are a lot of new equipment right now on the market which is supposedly based on subtle energy properties. And you can find, very expensive, like in Europe, 30,000 euros will cost equipment. The same time, when you know principles of subtle energy effects and how it works, how it interacts with physical matter and human body, you can discern which claims, I would say, of this equipment is real, which is not, which is also very important for practitioners. That's why I think this was one of the moving, I would say, forces for me to create this course, because until you understand principles, and principles not easy to understand because so many confusing subtle energy theories right now here, like you can hear words like scalar waves and torsion fields and bioplasma and whatnot. And you need to understand that it's the same, subtle energy, just named differently, and theories of these effects which they, suggest are very confusing and I would say wrong very often, because let's say that they cannot explain very well-known and established properties of subtle energy, like 5 elemental properties, which is absolutely experimentally proven and used in acupuncture and electroacupuncture in modern way. So what I wanted to say, that purpose of this course also to teach people to discern what is right, what is possible, and what is not possible. In other words, what is subtle energy is and what it is not. What can it do and what cannot. And how you can explain what it's doing if you see the effect. That's what purpose of this course is.
Yeah, and we will pursue with the question of the student or auditor. What you just speak about is very important for me, and this is a part of this model of education we have. Knowing knowledge, precise knowledge, will absolutely avoid a lot of mistakes, and not only that, because when I came in the field, I came here in America 15 years ago, I saw, people in some way putting equipment before education and spending a lot of money in, as you said, very expensive software and so on. And then it's important that, an individual or a healer or doctor can, discernate and differentiate, with the proper knowledge how things works. It's very important, so that what is in power is really the right thing, number one. Number two, which is another subject which is very dear to me, because at the end of the day, we're looking what? We're looking not, just few individuals. We're looking to impact health care. And we have to come with a solution and a way of healing that in some way are costless and something that can be also we don't want to go in the same kind of model because it in some way not complementary medicine, but there all this industry of wellness sometimes is identified for an industry with people that are more fortunate. Education, training properly doctors and practitioner and doctor of natural medicine will, I hope, avoid to get in this trap and put in hands of everybody the means that they can, take, not control, but, they can manage their health, at low cost. This is very important. So again, now we will go in the chat room. We will take a pause. That will give you some time to prepare your question for Dr. Kronn. But before we go there, I'd like to remind you this course of Southern Energy 101 can qualify for CEOs. If you are a professional, needs every year to have some CEOs. This course qualify for that. If you're already a student in the program, and because we have like a promo for the class this weekend, where there is a special discount. You will see, you can get the Southern Energy 101 for a significant discount. And then that later on, if you are a student, you can consult your mentor, and that course we can give an equivalence with another course of your program. In other words, if you attend this class, you can do an exchange for another class. But of course, you already signed up in the program, but you can take advantage of this discount this weekend. So before we go there, we'd like to prep you with a very important event that is coming, which is the Summit of Integrative Medicine 2015. This is this year a major event, and we have seen probably a few the video previously. We have a website. What is coming this year is absolutely a premiere again, because we have a keynote speaker renowned in this field of what we're speaking about, consciousness and integrative medicine, people that has done the research, and the list is not even complete here. We will add more. I don't know if you have to name all of them, but many of them you already know. Ripper Sheldrake. You have to understand this guy who was the first to speak about the morphogenic field and has done a huge contribution of new biology and new medicine. And of course, what he's speaking about relate very well with is doing Dr. Kronn and others here. Can you come back on the website? So, and it's almost costless, for $50 you can have access to the keynote conference, and we have newcomer here. Dr. Bruce Litton will be back with us. Dean Radin, and of course you already know many of them, like Dr. Amit Goswami. Nassim Aramin was with us last year. Dr. Lisa Renkin, Lynn McTaggart is also part of our the class that we're offering, and now we have also Dr. Joe Dispenza. Everybody know him, Dr. Fanning, but we have also newcomer like Carolyn Miss, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Greg Baden has a huge follow-up, and then who else? Dr. John Borsenko, and another video is coming. But, just follow your email, because there's other feature related to the summit that will allow our students, graduate, PhD doctor, to be also part of these, to line up with these very renowned speaker. We are coming with a very special contest. I don't want to give all the clue this morning, but follow up the website, your email, so you can participate closely to this Summit of Integrative Medicine. So let's take a little pause. We will play a video, and then we will come back with the chat room.
Quantum University presents the 2015 World Summit of Integrative Medicine, featuring world-renowned speakers, Dr. Amit Goswami, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Nassim Haramein, Dr. Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, Rupert Sheldrake, Dr. Paul Drouin, Lynn McTaggart, Dr. Lissa Rankin, Carolyn Mace, Dr. Joan Boroshenko, Dr. Dean Radin, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Dr. Jeffrey Fannin, and many more. From October 5th to the 11th, 2015, 7 days, 49 groundbreaking lectures, broadcast worldwide, WSIM2015.com.
This force is considered to be the driving and organizing force of the whole universe. We will see from experimental results that we will discuss in future lectures an indication of the influence of subtle energy of genes expression taking place in human cells. We indeed see a direct correlation with the picture presented by ancient cosmologists. A good example of this situation is the trouble scientists are currently having making sense of what they call dark matter and dark energy, which has been scientifically calculated to occupy 96% of the universe, yet which continues to baffle scientists around the world, simply because they cannot measure or see it. Subtle energy, according to both ancient Eastern science and modern frontier science, definitely belongs to the same kind of phenomena. We cannot measure it. We can only measure the effects it produces in our three-dimensional world. The practical reason to research subtle energy is to find a means to harness and use it for our needs, whether it is for our health and well-being or spiritual growth, and for finding non-toxic alternatives to existing technologies that are severely polluting our environment.
For more information, please visit quantumuniversity.com.
So, I invite the participant to go in the chat room and ask your question to Dr. Kronn. We like to be this interactive. And then one of the first questions is about the key. It's interesting because if you go in different tradition, Ayurvedic will speak about prana, and then the Chinese traditional medicine or Tao medicine speak about, the qi. And now you have also the Japanese. They speak about the ki. So they are asking here why you don't speak about the key, but when we speak about subtle energy, I think I figure out you englobe all these words or different ways to express subtle energy, right?
But subtle energy is just contemporary word for what ancient people called in different names. Like chi, ki, prana, and so on. It doesn't matter how you name it. It's the same energy which affects our lives. It comes from the more subtle structure of the universe. Modern science calls it subatomic world, and ancient called it, let's say, etheric world. It doesn't matter how we name it. It's all the same. Of course, different ranges of this energy are responsible for different effects in this world. And some range of them is important for our life, and that's what Chinese call chi energy, and Japanese called ki energy. It doesn't matter how we name it, it's all the same. It's energy which is, as I already said, works like a software in human body. It's energy which flows in acupuncture meridians, and energy which Indians call prana, and so on.
Personal, if you want to answer, it's okay. Does Dr. Kronn and Yury Kronn follow any personal energy practice? Example, Qigong, yoga, meditation. Thanks.
Yes. Answer is yes.
You want to comment more about that, or?
Well, first of all, as I already said, we even developed specific energy patterns for meditation, and we are using them literally every day in the morning when I get up. We meditate, and Constance meditates, and my friends meditate, and Dr. Igor Nazarov meditates with us together, and we meditate every day. Energy exercise, we are doing energy exercises. Of course, we understand what energy is, and that's why we want to be, following our own belief.
Thank you, and it's a very important question, I believe, because when I'm doing my class, I'm all the time speaking about the two-leg process of learning, but because what we're speaking about, in some way. Some concept cannot be grasped by just the intellect understanding. It has to be experiential. So I all the time recommend, find something that suits your tradition, your lifestyle, because everybody is different, and they will resonate better with this technique or the other technique. But what we provide at the end of the day is kind of a ground, a dominator understanding, how you can even enhance your own personal practice because you have more understanding. I saw people, myself, when I was listening the course of Dr. Kronn, I was doing my own meditation, and then, hearing him speaking about quartz, and then, the way this subatomic particle and are organized and so on. It just it gave me another another flip in my meditation. So I all the time recommend this because this two-leg thing: experience, learning. So one is more intellectual, one feed more the right brain, the other one more feed the left brain. And as you learn, as you evolve, then you start to have a new awareness of yourself, of your surrounding, how you entangled with and connected with all the universe. And this is what will be the doctor of the future, the healer of the future. When the client walks in, he will have this kind of awareness of entanglement and of subtle energy. So, and this is, that part sometimes is difficult for someone who comes from the old school, where it's very rigid, but we have to integrate both. So, and I'm pleased to hear the answer of Dr. Kronn, and I know them now for many years, and I'm going to tell you they are the embodiment, what they're speaking about. I guarantee you that. And now, someone asked you to speak about your secrets here, but you can just maybe say a few words. And I know you go more in depth in the course, but one is asking here, what is your VTF generator? Of course, everybody wants to know about this.
What is VT generator? It is a generator based on plasma. Plasma, you know what plasma is. It's if you take gas and run electrical discharge through it, it makes plasma, right? So this plasma, what we found when it is modulated, it means that you create vibrations in this plasma. This plasma radiates not only regular electromagnetic energy, it also radiates subtle energy. And if you put significantly sophisticated vibrations, you can create very sophisticated energy patterns with this. And depending on content of the plasma, like depending on what gas you are using for this, you can create different energy patterns with different properties. And these experiments with this generator showed us a lot of properties of subtle energy which we wouldn't observe in any other way. And we realized, for instance, that it's very common in I would say metaphysical community to say, oh, frequency, we are on a frequency, this is good frequency, this is bad frequency. Frequency is just a rate of vibration. What we found, for instance, at the same frequency, if you vibrate this plasma with the same frequency, but plasma is different, energy is totally different. That's how we learned using this generator to understand main basic properties of subtle energy.
Okay, so that I think gave us a tease, to want to know more, and then this is what is the course of Subtle Energy 101. And there is someone who come back, and this was the same lady that asked about the key, and of course the key belong more to the tradition of Reiki, and you probably heard about the Reiki, Dr. Kronn, and this lady asked, what are Dr. Kronn thought on the practice of Reiki, please? Reiki, you heard about that, right? I'm pretty sure.
Reiki?
Yeah, Reiki.
Yeah, of course I heard that. I know this modality. There are a lot of different ways to use and practice, subtle energy healing. You know that pranic healing, Reiki, it's just different techniques of healing. And they're all legitimate unless they produce positive effects. And again, in this case, Reiki healing is, as I said, a very legitimate technique. But what I would suggest that in the future, all these healing modalities can benefit tremendously by using different energy, I would say, tools with infused energy, because then you can train yourself how to distinguish between different energy patterns, how to feel them better, and then it, of course, develops ability to, project this energy and feel this energy for analysis of your patient conditions and so on. We are working with healers, and you can see in that, you could see in that slide which I showed, that we also are recording energies of healers, which means that we can record energy, for instance, it was slide 20. I believe it was the last slide which you showed. And we can record energy of pranic healer, and we have these energies. And it's what's good about it is that it means that if you successfully did some treatment and we recorded energy which produced this treatment, then we have this energy pattern forever, and we can reproduce it anytime.
Yeah, and now we're just opening a completely new chapter, because, of course, there's in the field already practitioner of different type of tradition, and Reiki is one of them. But, what you're speaking about, is how you can enhance and how you can make these people, feeling more what they are doing. And, many times these healer or practitioner, they face some some resistance, And one of your study was, and this is one of the questions here, about the environment, because you realize that your research has shown that you may not have the same outcome of result if you operate in what you call a dirty environment than if you operate in what you call a clean environment. And of course, you have developed also technology to improve the environment of the practitioner. You see, we are opening doors here, to understand more how energy works, how the healer works, and how consciousness and quantum physics relate with this entanglement. And now Dr. Kronn come with the also paying more attention to the environment of the healer. Will you comment about this? And this is one question also of one of the participants, who speaks.
Can you repeat? Is it a question about energy which helps to clean environment?
Yeah, when I'm speaking, you done research, about, the environment in which is working the doctor or the healer, and that can be also have a consequence of the outcome of the result, right?
Right. So we did this research in Irvine University with Dr. Joy Jones, which unfortunately deceased 2 years ago. And what we observed, that healing effect, energetic healing effect, is very different depending on the cleanliness of environment, energetic cleanness of environment. The Dr. Joy Jones observed it with pranic healers for 10 years. If environment is clean, healing is very effective. If you go to the room or laboratory, as he did, which is energetically kind of polluted, then you observe very low effect, which means that environment, and it's not, of course, surprise for people who feel energy, that environment is very essential for effectiveness of healing. So we developed specific energy patterns which helped, and we experimentally observed it, that this energy pattern, if you spray water with this energy pattern in a room where experiment was done, and experiment was much more successful than if you don't clean environment. And this data is presented in my course, and that shows that actually we need to put serious attention when to environment, to how environment is clean energetically, if you want to achieve better results. And of course, it applies to any modalities, I believe. It doesn't matter what kind of healing you use. If environmental conditions are not good, and then it will diminish effectiveness of your treatment. We call this clean sweep, this energy pattern, and we use it for ourselves all the time when we are traveling, for instance, in hotel where environment is not very clean energetically. We use it and we sleep much better.
Thank you. And there's another question now, but what is about what is the long-term potential of southern energy? But I'd like to comment about that. But of course, I can see this line without putting a little my word here. People realize now, because we have practitioners now coming from all different fields, and they have the possibility now to join the university and not only get credential, because this is what is important, but also getting the knowledge, how this works, because we are kind of for maybe 10, 20 years, 30 years like apprentice working with this southern energy. But more as it goes, as you have seen the research of Dr. Kronn this morning, and Dr. Goswami and other physicists that are joining our university, they give us a kind of a guideline, how to have an optimal healing relation with the client. So, and this is what is very important for me, because what we are changing here, if we're speaking to, at the end of the day, impact healthcare, it's not just about, as I said many times in my book, Creative Integrative Medicine, changing who pay bills here. It is to make a medicine which is more efficient, costless. And southern energy in some ways is almost free. Of course, there is some medium we're using, but it's not, we're not speaking about the same cost that we have to face now when the individuals are challenged with chronic disease and so on. So this is huge what you're speaking. So and when I'm and you saw at the beginning, we have placed some of our graduates now already. These doctors are in field and do their impact, with this new understanding. So, but okay, again, I will repeat the question for you, Dr. Kronn. What is the long-term potential for southern energy? I think that's an easy one for you, I guess. How you would comment about that? What is the potential of that, the southern energy?
You mean the potential as a healing tool or what?
Yeah, potential, is for me it's tremendous because you already speak yourself in your course the fact that what we are looking at the end of the day is new way of healing, less toxic, and then and more subtle. So
okay.
What is the potential of subtle energy in medicine, by example, or in health or in healthcare?
Dr. Drouin, let me tell you and our audience this kind of thing. Imagine fish which lives in the water and thinks that water is the only thing which provides life. And it's breathing with water, doesn't know that oxygen is in the water, which actually provides life for this fish. Our civilization right now, in the same condition, we think that what is physical environment provides us is just the only thing necessary for life. But it's not true. And subtle energy, which we call, whatever you call it, life force is much better name, is absolutely necessary for our life. It's not that we have one more, tool which can help us to improve our health. It's not just tool. It is literally like software for computer. You can say, oh yeah, hardware is so important. Yes, hardware is important, but until you have good software, your computer is nothing. The same human body. Human body works only because it has this software, which is energy flowing in our body and programming our physiology, influencing our psychology and everything else. Like we already discussed, why energy of lithium influences our psychology. It helps with depression. Because there are energetic patterns in the universe which tremendously affect how our essence, how our, physical body and all other parts of our structure operate. So, in other words, we need to learn how to use this power, how to use this software for, I will say, a good existence, normal existence. What we are doing right now, we are polluting environment, for instance, all these Wi-Fi's, but Wi-Fi also brings with itself energetic pollution. And energetic pollution will be influencing our software in the body. And it will mess up our physiology sooner or later. So awareness about subtle energy, awareness about life force is absolutely necessary. And I hope we will move in this direction pretty fast. It is absolutely necessary for health of our civilization.
Yeah, and here we have another question, and I think it's a very important, and because people are listening at us this morning, and you're speaking about this fifth force and all these application and research now. But here's the question of Mike. Thank you for this inspiring information. Are Dr. Kronn subtle technology for purchase? So I guess this is, if someone is already interested to see, know the outcome, what you have developed during this last 30 years. There is, they can have access to this technology now, right? So how this?
Dr. Drouin, I didn't understand. Can you repeat question?
Yeah, because you speaking about the vital force, and the vital force now, you spoke about the many signature products, but these are available to purchase, right? You can how can
some of them, yeah, for professionals, yes. We supply professionals with subtle energy patterns infused into concentrated trace minerals, and we use only those energy patterns which were well researched and we exactly know how they work. Yeah, because we consider it as a continuation of our research, because professionals supply us with information how it works, and we collect more and more data. In the future, I hope to write another book with more information about how subtle energy works in details, and it's absolutely necessary. As I said, we consider it as our research field, these practitioners. For instance, and they sometimes supply us with information which we don't expect. No matter how experienced you are in subtle energy, you always can be really surprised. For instance, being in Germany, I did workshop, and a couple of doctors told on this workshop that using one of our energy patterns, they were able to help people tremendously, to help people who were on chemotherapy. And it appeared that these particular energy patterns help them to overcome side effects, or almost totally overcome, or significantly overcome side effects of chemotherapy. And we didn't know about properties of this energy pattern. So this property. So we, as I said, using information which we collect from practitioners as a database for the future.
Yeah, thank you. And when Dr. Kronn say professional, all the graduate from the university or student of the university, they can, they have access to this advanced technology products. And if you are not a student now, I very highly suggest you sign up for the course of Dr. Yury Kronn, which is, as I said, discounted this weekend. And this is for you an opening door to be a student with us, and then maybe you like to experiment on yourself. So this is how you can have access to this technology. And I have a testimony here of Liz, Dr. I don't know, I think she's one of our students. I don't know if she's graduated yet. And she said, I just want to thank you, Dr. Kronn, for this amazing products and technology. As a Reiki master teacher, I love using the products to prepare and cleanse my space for my client and student. So I think Lisa, answer also Violette, who was speaking about about Reiki and your technology, and we have hundreds of testimony like this, because Dr. Yury Kronn is working, with now he's in the field for more than 30 years, and of course, many of the students and graduates, use his technology, and they have an incredible result. But as Dr. Kronn said, it's very important to have information, to get educated. It's not just because you want to be under some type of credential to use this for other people, and this is what provides the university credential, where you can be the doctor of natural medicine, PhD in natural medicine, or integrative medicine, and there's different level of certification that can, of course, cover you up, for, liability insurance and so on. But, for yourself, maybe you're not a practitioner, you're not a doctor. I think a good startup, is just to have this course and see, how this can work for yourself. And now, I see time flying, but there's an interesting question here. From Marcello, is the practitioner intention still important when using these products? It's very, I think it's a very interesting question here. You know, I repeat that for you. Is the practitioner intention still important when using these products?
You know, that's very good question. Whether practitioner intention, whether intention of the patient, of course, good to apply when you use this remedy because it enhances effect and speed of action of these remedies. Like any remedy, it's not only, it's very well known what is placebo effect. That when people help this remedy to effectively, operate in their body, just put their intention to it and attention. And that's why when you use energetic remedy, it is even more important because it's much more sensitive to your intention than chemistry. And let's say to recommend patient to spend 5 times quietly concentrating on the effect of remedy when they take it is very, very helpful.
Oh yeah, and I reinforce that, and then when, your students start to study about, entanglement and with Dr. Goswami, you become aware that intention is very important. And I was in conference recently and I was saying, there is so much ignorance now in the medical faculty that, the way I was trained years ago is like, this false idea to be objective and separate from your client. And now, for years, you train with a model of medicine that is kind of a fatalist, It's like, you are, you are the outcome of your gene. So just be framed with this kind of belief when you relate with your client can have an effect on the outcome of the healing. So it's, a time will come that, doctors and healers will need, to be in the field, to have this knowledge and understanding, because, how they think, how they, their awareness about, subtle energy and everything will have absolutely an impact on the outcome of healing. And now, and I'm pretty sure now we don't have this statistic of that, but the result, how many of healing at the end of the day is very important, because this is what is healthcare. It's to have result, costless, and then recuperate, and put more knowledge as possible in the hands of the client too. This is where we should aim. And where we're aiming now is there is no issue. It's just a medicine that generates just more disease. And then what we face now is we think that, okay, if we become a social medicine now, everybody will be able to afford it. But I can guarantee you, coming from Canada, that's not the answer, because even social medicine cannot afford that type of medicine. This is very important. And someone is asking here too, where is the question here? So many questions left, and I think we tease you this morning, so you have to go forward and see this class. But someone is asking, can we use this without equipment? Of course you can use subtle vital force and technology of Dr. Kronn without any equipment. I think it's more, and knowledge, education is much more important than equipment here. And this is what you will discover when you study Dr. Yury Kronn, Subtle Energy 101. So thank you very much, everybody. Now we are at the end of this broadcast. I apologize for the technology we had, but I think we have catch up, with the absolutely interesting subject of Dr. Yury Kronn, who, again, he's a pioneer in this field, and he's making a breakthrough you know, because I would say, from my knowledge, he's the first one now to get in this field of southern energy. Not only that, be able to generate signature pattern information, have an effect on health, and the potential of that is tremendous. Thank you very much, everybody, to be with us. Thank you again, Dr. Yury Kronn, for your incredible work, for your life work, and be part of this university. And then we expect to see you next time at the next World TV. And please follow up for the World Summit Integrative Medicine 2015, which will be a very unique event where not only keynote speaker, a very renowned will be exposed, but you graduate doctors will be able to participate. We will have an open door for that, and then it's absolutely costless. So, you know, pass the word, as we said, and thank you very much all to be part of this family of Quantum University. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Drouin, and thank you all listeners.
Thank you.